Hey everybody, welcome back to Clues by Sam. I hope you're doing well. And if it's the first time you're here and you don't know what Clues by Sam is, this is it. It is a daily puzzle game where you have 20 people on a board. Each of them may be a criminal or an innocent, and you gotta figure out who is what using the clues that they themselves give you. We are here every day doing this for practice, and if you want to do it as well, there is a link in the description to take you to today's puzzle. It is a medium one, so it's a good start for people who have some practice with logic. And if you get stuck and need some help, or maybe you want to do it along with me, then I'm going to start right now and I'm going to tell what I'm thinking of my logic as I go along. Let's do this. We start with Will telling us that Janet is one of 3 innocents in row 3. So row 3 is this one. Janet is one of the innocents. There's 2 more. Janet tells us that exactly 2 of Stella's 6 innocent neighbors also neighbor Gabe. Where's Stella? Stella is here and she shares 2 neighbors with Gabe. So both of them have to be innocent, and that's Janet, herself, and Karen. But now we know that Stella has 6 innocent neighbors total. So 3 more here. Karen now tells us that exactly 2 innocents below Barrett are neighboring Tyler. Well, 2 innocents below Barrett are Janet and Will already, and both of them neighbor Tyler, so we know that Stella is not one of those innocents. And we don't need Karen's clue anymore, it doesn't tell us any new information. Stella now tells us that an odd number of innocents on the edges neighbor her. Well, she has 5 people neighboring her on the edges, so that's either 1, 3, or 5 people on the edges neighboring her. It couldn't be 5 because we know that she has 6 innocents total, and 2 of them are already not on the edge. So that makes it so that either 3 or 1. Could it be 1? It couldn't. Because if only one person that neighbors her on the edge were to be an innocent, there wouldn't be enough people not on the edge neighboring her to be innocent and total 6. So we know there's 3 people. One of them is Will. But we also know that since there's 3 here, 4 or 5 with Janet and Karen, there has to be 1 more innocent, and that person couldn't be on the edge. That can only be Tyler. Okay, I hope that was understandable. Now Tyler tells us that there is only 1 innocent in between Brett and Stella, and that's Janet. So we know that Frank is not an innocent, he's a criminal. We don't need Tyler's clue anymore. Frank now tells us there's an odd number of innocents below Eve. 3 people below Eve neighbor Stella. It couldn't be that all of them are innocents to make an odd number, because that will break Stella's total. So only 1 of them here is an innocent to make an odd number, and Stella still needs 3 people neighboring her on the edges, so Zaya has to be a part of those 3 because she's not below Eve. I guess we don't need Frank's clue anymore, do we? Zaya now tells us that both criminals in row 2 are connected. So that makes it so that the second criminal in row 2 is either Eve or Gabe, and Hazel is not a criminal at all. We don't need Zaya's clue anymore now. Hazel tells us that there are exactly 3 innocents in column B. Well, the 3rd innocent can only be Brett, so they have to be an innocent. We don't need Hazel's clue anymore. Brett now says that exactly 1 innocent to the left of Oscar is neighboring Janet. Or Janet. Well, Karen is an innocent to the left of Oscar, and Karen neighbors Janet, so Igor couldn't be an innocent because Igor also neighbors Janet and is to the left of Oscar. We don't need Brett's clue anymore. Now Igor tells us there's an equal number of innocents in rows 3 and 4. Do you know how many innocents we have in row 4? We don't, but we know there has to be at least 1 more. What about Oscar? Because Oscar could be... We know that Pam and Vicky are one or the other because Stella needs 1 more innocent here. we don't need Janet's clue anymore. Oh, Will told us that there's 3 instants in row 3, so Oscar has to be an instant as well, and that tells us that both Pam and Uma are instant because it has to be the same number as row 3. And we know now that Vicky is a criminal because of that. Nice, nice, nice. Now Pam tells us that only one row has exactly 2 innocents. That row is going to be row 2. Because Hazel is an innocent there, and there's going to be one more and one criminal. So that means that row 5 couldn't have 2 innocents, so Zach has to be a third. And now Zach tells us that only one person in a corner has exactly one criminal neighbor, and that person is Vicky. So Zach doesn't have a criminal neighbor at all. Dennis would either have to have 2 criminal neighbors or none. But the thing is that Aaron already has 1 criminal neighbor. So if Eve were to be an innocent, then Aaron would also have only 1 criminal neighbor. So that can happen. Eve has to be the second criminal here. That makes Gabe an innocent. And similarly, Dennis has to have Chloe as an innocent, as to not have 1 criminal neighbor. Now Gabe tells us that each column has at least 2 innocents, which means that column A has to have a second one, and that has to be Aaron. And now Aaron tells us that there are more innocents in row 1 than row 4. Row 4 has 3, so all the people in row 1 have to be innocent, and we are done. Okay, that was nice. Is this a new record? Is it? I don't remember my last record for median, but I'm pretty happy about that. Short video though, but this is gonna be it for today. I have no time for more, and I'll be here back again tomorrow for more Clues by Sam. So I hope I see you then. Bye bye.